I had learned that there was a task force that had put together to solve this case. But my clock ran out at 40. I wouldn't be able to get justice. Then I spoke with Paul Holes, and he knew my case. Oh my God, he knew my case. He was working on it. He really was, because he knew the details. We spoke several times, and he really gave me hope that one day that man would be caught. Then, a week after my 52nd birthday, on April 24th, he was captured. I'd be consumed now with the details of my assault. Now I had to see them through adult eyes. The darkness was overwhelming. I reached my lowest point at 53, and I had to change. I ended my drinking career. I'm now in a much stronger place. I've got a clear head, and I'm here. On June 1st of this year, I got a call from the DA's office telling me that that man was going to admit to my crime. A weight was lifted off my shoulders, and it sounds crazy or cliche, but it's not a weight. I had no idea how heavy this weight was. I've been carrying it for so long. I've lived longer with this weight than I've been on this earth. I've had it longer than I've been on this earth without it. But it was gone. I didn't realize how important it was, but it was gone because he would be here admitting in a court of law what he had done to me. Finally, I can go forward. I have justice that I've been waiting for, and I never thought I'd get it. I have a full second half of my life ahead of me, and you've got what you got. However, 13-year-old Mary needed justice. If only back then, someone could have said to me with confidence, if they could have said to me that one day he'd be caught and one day he'd be held accountable. I can't help but think what a difference that would have made for my future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Are we ready to proceed as to count 25?
Just one moment, Your Honor.
Certainly.
We're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. This is count 25. Mr. DeAngelo has entered a guilty plea to the charge of kidnapping with intent to commit robbery of Jane Doe number 12, having occurred October 28, 1978, in the county of Contra Costa, violation of Penal Code Section 209. In addition, the defendants admitted to the following uncharged acts: rape, Jane Doe number 12, having occurred on October 28, 1978, in the county of Contra Costa, violation of Penal Code Section 261, robbery of Jane Doe number 12, and John Doe number 11, having occurred October 28, 1978, in the county of Contra Costa, a violation of Penal Code Section 211, and false imprisonment of Jane Doe number 12 and John Doe number 11, having occurred October 28, 1978, in the county of Contra Costa, violation of Penal Code Section 236. Is there any victim or a member of the victim's family who wish to be heard as to count 25 or any of the uncharged acts? You may proceed when you feel comfortable to do so.
On October 28, 1978, I was 23 years old, married with a 3-year-old son. We were moving to our new house, and this was our last night in the old house. That night I encountered you, Joe, perpetrator of these horrific crimes against so many victims, of which I am one. And my life, my world changed permanently. Probably one of our most fundamental and primal fears is of the boogeyman, who attacks people in the middle of the night while they are asleep. That is what you did to me. I encountered pure evil when you awakened me and thrust me into a nightmare of fear and violence. I believed with every fiber of my being that the night would end in my death. Well, I survived, but the nightmare that began that night has never ended. I was terrorized, raped, and threatened in the most horrific and intimately personal of ways that night. After a few hours, the attack ended, and you disappeared back into the night from whence you came. However, my persecution has continued for 41 years and 10 months. Your Honor, I'm aware that I have been restricted from addressing the coward who victimized me directly. I'm sorry, but that leaves me feeling victimized once more.
Ma'am, you address Mr. DeAngelo if you choose to address him.
Thank you. 32 years after my attack, in 2010, one of the Contra Costa investigators on my case, whom I should have trusted, wrote a book in which he libeled me in the most disgusting and repellent manner. Again, my victimization continues. The sheer terror my family and I experienced on October 28, 1978, has never been far from my mind. I still cannot go anywhere without wondering if another sick, evil degenerate is next to me in the produce section, behind me in the checkout line, following me to my car, or stalking me in some way. The attack I suffered so many years ago left me with the constant and painful awareness that brutality, cruelty, and abject evil always pose significant and present risk to me. My marriage ended 7 months after we were attacked. Any statement from myself would be remiss if I failed to mention my ex-husband, who was also a very real victim that night. I'm sure he has also suffered. He had some issues that negatively impacted his life and lifestyle to the point where he is now unable to meet the most basic threshold of competence and not even capable of appearing and speaking on behalf of himself. He should not be forgotten. There are other large disturbing factors that are constantly with me. My inability to sleep at night without medication and the need of a nightlight. Even then, I have difficulty sleeping through the night, and some nights are entirely sleepless. It is difficult for me to trust other people. I struggle to establish and maintain normal relationships. I find it extremely difficult to be optimistic or spontaneous in virtually every situation and circumstance. My father and I were very close. We shared a love of water skiing. That was my thing, my hobby. My father taught me to water ski at 3 years old. The night that you violently attacked me, you mentioned seeing me at the lake, and that I looked good. I've never water skied again. Meanwhile, your chosen hobby of murder, rape, burglary has continued unabated for years. You destroyed the life that I had and blithely continued your crime spree without missing a beat. Where is the justice in that? Over the years, I have often thought about a day like this. What do I want out of this? What do I want your punishment to be? Is there a penalty, a punishment that could satisfactorily address the horrible crimes committed by you against myself and the numerous other victims? I doubt that. Joe, on October 28, 1978, you terrorized me and my family. Well, I am here. I am free to leave this courtroom and lead the life I choose. You are going to spend the rest of your miserable life in a cage in the company of other evil men, degenerates who, like yourself, have been found unfit to live amongst the rest of us in normal society. While you struggle with the very real challenge of attaching any meaning, any substance, or finding any joy in the existence you will have, I will begin to live a happy, productive, fulfilling life in which hopefully I can regain my capacities of enjoyment, optimism, and the deriving of pleasure. A life in which evil is given the widest possible berth, and the fear insidiously instilled in me by you no longer has any place. You will not defeat me. You will not break me. You have not ruined my life, and you will not. Ultimately, it is your own life that has been destroyed, and the lives of your family that have been forever damaged by your actions. The evil that you visited upon so many innocent victims is finally coming home where it belongs, with you. Perhaps the most I or any of DeAngelo's victims can hope for is that he be put away to never harm another person, put away to be excluded from the privileges of living in our civilized society. At minimum, he does not deserve to live among us, to thrive among us, to ride his motorcycle, or to enjoy a delicious pot roast whenever he has the inclination to do so. He deserves nothing.
Sorry, ma'am. Continue, please.
Perhaps the most I or any of DeAngelo's victims can hope for is that he be put away to never harm another person, put away to be excluded from the privileges of living in our civilized society. At minimum, he does not deserve to live among us, to thrive among us, to ride his motorcycle, or to enjoy a pot roast whenever he has the inclination to do so. He deserves nothing. It disturbs me greatly that this man, this monster, has lived the overwhelming majority of his life in freedom, without consequence, or paying any penalty for his inhuman and monstrous conduct and crimes. What I hope to achieve when I leave here today is for me to stop bearing that penalty. This coward has been a specter haunting my thoughts and dreams continuously since he attacked me so many years ago. When I leave here, my hope is that any thoughts of him will wither and die in my mind, just as he will wither away, be forgotten, and eventually die inside the confines of the California Department of Corrections. I am one of the lucky ones today because I am here. I'm able to speak on my own behalf. It is especially important that we never forget that at least 13 voices were forever silenced by the horrific conduct of this perpetrator. Your Honor, I am aware that a plea agreement is in place, and Joe DeAngelo's punishment is entirely within your purview. If what I want and feel has any importance to you, however, I would respectfully ask that you consider sending him to the California State Penitentiary at Pelican Bay, California. Sending him away from the centers of our society to the dismal isolation of Pelican Bay, where he will not only be out of sight, but hopefully out of mind as well, would be a great healing blessing, not only to myself, but also to most of his other victims with whom I am in touch. In closing, I thank Your Honor, and I thank this court for the opportunity to address the court.
Thank you, ma'am. Does that conclude Contra Costa's participation at this point?
It does, Your Honor. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, counsel. Mr. Ho, do we have anything further today scheduled?
Your Honor, we have no further victim impact statements this morning. We do have a full day of impact statements all set for tomorrow for the homicide cases and the homicide victims, Your Honor.
That's true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll conclude today's hearing. We'll start back up 9 o'clock sharp, and I anticipate a full day. We're in recess. The attorneys stay seated, please.